Oh yeah.
This is stupid. Everyone's done this.
Yeah. I mean, we could.
Okay, we can run through this just for posterity's sake.
Yeah. All right. So we got New Hope, Empire. What if we do this in like we'll rank with the order as well? And I think in this case I would put Empire above New Hope.
I would agree. If you asked me like 3 days ago where I would put Jedi, I would have put it above New Hope. The highs are high.
Yeah.
It has the highest highs and the lowest lows of the trilogy. I think you also have to like take into account like context.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like, do you drop it because of the bad effects? I can't. Bad dialogue? Yeah, maybe. It clearly has the worst dialogue.
Yeah.
When she goes, run away.
Run far away.
Run far away. I can't. Oh.
I can't. That part is good because she swoops her hair.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Carrie Fisher is attractive?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'd rather see Carrie Fisher than blood in my urine. But
I mean, especially in Jedi, she's wearing.
Well, yeah, okay, yes.
She's super
iconic. When we get to Endor, I'm like, I could do it.
I don't like that hairstyle for her.
I think she has the ugliest voice.
Oh, I love her voice.
In Star Wars.
I love a raspy voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Carrie Fisher on the lower end of. That's what we should do. A girl Star Wars tier list.
Okay, so anyways, these are all in S tier, top tier. Andor goes like right there.
You think?
Yeah.
You honestly think? I was thinking about this the other day because I obviously Jedi's been on my mind. I just saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair to put it above Andor does not exist without Empire and
yeah, but that doesn't mean it doesn't reach the same highs. It's not, and it's also the fact that it's so different, but doesn't feel like disconnected.
I mean, Return of the Jedi. First of all, Star Wars is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi brings the whole trilogy to a close.
Well, let's just clarify. Are you saying it doesn't belong in S tier?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. As long as we're good.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can say it's better than.
I could.
You cannot watch Andor without seeing A New Hope for sure. That automatically to me puts it below A New Hope. Now this is where I struggle with.
Mm-hmm. I do have a sail barge, and I just bought a Hermiodal.
I mean, it also it goes into question:
Yeah.
Do you judge a movie on its highs, on its consistency? Do you judge it on its lows? If you judge it on its highs, I have to put Return of the Jedi above. And Andor has some very high highs.
Yeah, it has the highest.
Return of the Jedi, I think, has the highest highs of all Star Wars. I mean, Luke, throwing his lightsaber down, standing up to Palpatine, saying he's not, just all of Jabba's palace, Jabba's sail barge. Andor has, of course, One Way Out.
Yeah. I saw the thing that somebody was like, "Is this the
Sorry, keep going.
Andy Serkis speech? Is that the best moment of Star Wars?" And then they later replied to the tweet with the
Sorry, I keep
image of the Skarsgård speech from later in the episode being like, "Oh no, they just topped it." And then somebody posted both of that being like, "I love how this is everybody's reaction to Andor of is this Andy Serkis moment the best thing ever?" And then
I think that the Andy Serkis
here, let me fix. I got what you're trying to do.
Okay. I think just fix that for me. I think the Andy Serkis speech is better than the Skarsgård speech.
I mean,
which is very good, but the Andy Serkis speech, the whole time you're like, oh my god, everything is coming, and it's like he gave his whole life up for.
Yeah. Oh wait, I got it.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it is so good.
Yeah.
It is so good, but like, it definitely stands on the shoulders of like.
I think too, it's like the fact that Andor
Our
is able to
expectations are
exist.
so low. It
It's
definitely
able to
stands on the
exist
shoulders
when,
of like good
when our
TV.
expectations are so low.
That's also true. That's also
And when
true.
TV is so good. Like there's so many good TV shows out.
It is really good for TV these days, especially. Yeah, I guess you're right. I
I mean, I don't really have a problem putting it behind.
I am
Jedi.
gonna no. I want to put they're pretty darn close.
I think it's the consistency that wins it over for me.
Definitely. When season 2 comes out, we will be singing a different tune.
Yeah. I'm gonna put Attack of the Clones in. Could have done better.
That's very generous of you. I think I agree.
Because there's a lot of stuff. I think people usually are like, man, there's a lot of stuff in this I wish I liked, and like could have been interesting, but it's not. Like people always thought like, oh, I like that. Like Obi-Wan goes on this like detective,
Which he
thing.
doesn't.
He doesn't. He goes around asking like, hey, can you solve this puzzle for me? And then he goes like undercover, and he's like the worst undercover agent ever.
He goes undercover.
That's
why
I'm here.
Yeah. But he doesn't go undercover.
Oh, but the guy you're talking about
purpose.
is he died a bunch of years ago. That's inconsistent with the
Could
story.
Attack of the Clones have been a comedy? Would that have made it?
I think maybe.
I don't think we're gonna have anything in A, B, and C now that I look at it.
I'll put Book of Boba Fett in C.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It is a C tier. These descriptions throw us off. It is the definition of could have done better. They definitely could have done better, but it is C tier. I'm with you. Yeah, because that has high highs. I mean, the Tusken stuff is awesome.
Tusken stuff's great.
And
like even though it's like a bland finale, it's not a finale that like ruins the show.
the
or
finale
anything.
is
Oh, you know
fine.
what though? I'm gonna say the caveat, the asterisk, is that it does. The Book of Boba Fett is a show, and then partway through the show, they released 2 episodes of Mando season 3.
Well, they separate the seasons, so
but I mean,
you wouldn't watch Mando season 2 on its own, you know.
my point is that
No,
the
you're-
episodes with Luke and Mandalorian are not included.
Okay, then if that's the case, and it's not, we can't put that in the ranking. But if it was, I'd put it in almost A, if not S. Maybe not S.
Not S. I don't
A.
think. Yeah. That Luke stuff is like the worst stuff I've ever seen. Okay, Mandalorian. A or S, I guess.
I think I would put an S under Jedi.
Season 1. Yeah, man, the prison episode.
It saved Star Wars. You
Yeah.
can't be understated what it did for.
It set up so many interesting possibilities.
Yeah, wow.
And interesting.
And like set up it not just interesting like, ooh, where can they go with this? It's pretty clear where they're gonna go with this, and it's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna take a big old shit on the screen. But lo and behold, they did.
Yeah.
They certainly did. It took a while to get there. Season 2, I would definitely put an A.
Yeah, A. Yeah. Yeah, almost there is a good way to put it.
You definitely convinced me on the Luke stuff, which really soured me when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because Luke showing up is
Here's the thing, though.
you know
Everything
the word
I
I
said.
want to use, and it starts with an R.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The Luke stuff and the way my explanation for why I eventually grew to be okay with the Luke stuff is that it was the culmination of like
That story.
Like
You were never going to
can't-
see Baby Yoda again. What a
Right.
send-off. What a guy who had such a cultural impact. Mr. Star Wars himself.
Like if
is
we're going to send off
taking
Baby
him-
Yoda, we can't give him away to a rando.
Definitely.
You know, we can't give him away to Plo Koon.
Can't give him to Ezra Bridger.
God, just give him away to Luke so that he could. Like,
Mr. Star Wars himself.
and it almost
It does feel a little bit like, what's that movie where I might even be stealing this joke from you. Charlie Sheen or something has an interview, and the big twist is it zooms out and the interview's at the Twin Towers on 9/11.
Oh yeah.
It does kind of feel
Yeah.
like that, but you know that's just me.
but it's like it almost works. It almost worked super well, and then turns out I was just wrong about all of this. That like it's like, okay, the Mandalorian is this offshoot storyline happening randomly, and here is where
Zero
he like
connection to.
here's where it just like for just a second he like dovetails his story with the main story, and then like shoots off again, and like that would be so interesting. That would be the way to do it. That would be a way of like, oh, okay, that is like this is a story of how like some random bounty hunter just so happened to intersect with Luke Skywalker for like one scene.
Yeah.
And then like went on. But then you can't keep selling Baby Yoda merch. So then they meet again a bit, and then they hang out, and then he talks to Ahsoka again, and then he gets Baby Yoda back.
And then nothing fucking happened in that
Nothing
finale.
happened.
Everything that happened in that finale was completely undone.
And then everything was undone. Absolutely everything was
Completely.
undone. So speaking of everything being undone,
That's got to be F.
wasn't worth. I would say
It totally wasn't worth it.
wasn't worth releasing is the best way to say it, because it like retroactively ruins a lot of the previous seasons.
Definitely.
Because you can't like Moff Gideon's whole plan. Spoilers for Mando season 3. His whole plan was to make clones of himself with the Force.
Force-sensitive clones
How
of Giancarlo Esposito running around.
stupid. It's so stupid. And not stupid in like a, oh, it's Star Wars, it's supposed to be stupid. It's just it's dumb. It's not scary. It's not clever. It's not interesting. In fact, it's like the premise itself is like okay, he's gonna make clones of himself. There are so many stories you can get out of like somebody's making clones of themselves. You know, what's the Michael Keaton has a comedy out of it. You know, and then The Simpsons parodied it with Homer and the hammock. Remember Homer makes the hammock clones?
No. This must be a later one.
It's a Jurassic horror.
I usually stop at season 9. I've probably seen it before, but I don't.
Multiplicity, that's the name of it. Anyways, point is that there's a bunch of like stories and like concepts of the idea of like, I realize I don't need to wear
I mean, this is just the finale we're talking about.
and it's like that was his whole plan was he's gonna make like aren't they going to try and usurp him? Like wouldn't he be smart enough to know that if he made a clone of himself, that clone would then want power and try to kill him? Like, but that's not the story at all. The story is that he wants
No,
perfect soldiers.
that's not the story at all. That story doesn't show up until I remember us talking. I mean, remember how we would talk and discuss and speculate when the first 2 seasons come out, what's going to happen and like where are they going to go with this, and like think about like outside influences. And when throughout this season we were like, okay, like I kind of see where they're building, and now it's like, okay, I don't really. And then we got to the end, and it was like, what do you think about the finale? And it's like, I don't think about it. I don't care, because they haven't built to anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that matters, and I don't mean built to anything like, oh, I hope Ahsoka Tano's gonna show up and Thief's gonna save the day. Like there's been no stakes. There was no planting or payoff. Like nothing that happened at the end had anything to do with the beginning, including IG-88, who I saw the first episode and I was like, okay, I know the guy who's directing it, Rick Famuyiwa, who did the first and the last 2 episodes. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna let the first one be, because I bet all this stuff is gonna come back in a major way.
Mm-hmm.
The pirates are gonna show up. IG-88 is gonna have some stupid plot significance, whatever, and it's all gonna be a satisfying ending. And then nothing. Like they killed off the pirates, and IG-88 is like basically a post-credit scene. And it's like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? You
There was
so clearly
nothing-
studio interference.
Like in the finale, Baby Yoda uses the Force to heal in front of Carl Weathers, convincing him to help them.
Yeah.
Throughout the series, Mando learns to like rely on other people more.
Yeah.
And like open
And those
up more.
same specific
And
people,
those people
come together and they
save
form...
him in the finale. There is nothing that happens in the finale that like there's no obstacle in the finale of Mando season 3 that isn't like overcome by just fighting, like just
A bigger
a
gun.
fight scene. It's just
Him
everything
having
is
more XP.
everything is solved by people having more XP. And like, it's crazy. There's not a single line about Paz Vizsla sacrifice. There's not a single line.
Well,
about it.
what really sells it for me is
Oh, hold on one sec. Let me just put Kenobi.
over here. What really sells it for me is us talking about when one of the guys is flying his ship into the, which is just cut in a really funny way.
Oh
Like
yeah.
a very comedic way. So all of a sudden it cuts to him like, "Hey guys, you're not gonna believe this."
Hey, by the way, I'm crashing the ship
Crashing his ship.
into where you guys are right now. You have 30 seconds to get out of there. If you get blown up, it's not my fault.
Remember you said I could crash at your place anytime? When we watched it together, you joked like, "Oh, he's sacrificing himself like he did in the chess game."
Right.
And we even talked about like that scene is so stupid. They start fighting over rules and technicalities. This
Yeah.
was like the technicality season. But they don't like it doesn't matter like they don't it's not about like their philosophy. They don't argue because like, "Oh no, we're the old Mandalorians and we believe it should be like this. Wow, we're the new Mandalorians and we think no, it's about a stupid rule."
Yeah.
And Bo-Katan gets the Darksaber for a stupid rule.
Yep.
And something else happens for a stupid rule, and then the Darksaber breaks, and it's like that was all this means nothing.
Yeah.
And then he adopts Baby Yoda because of a stupid rule, and we already thought he did. And it's
Yeah.
like at first I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be bad," because they're shoving everyone into their like starting places for Ahsoka, and they didn't even do that.
Yeah, and it's like, what's so crazy is that they blow up the Darksaber at the end there, and it's like, nobody says anything about it, and I like, shouldn't that mean something to like? I get that Bo-Katan has moved past it, like needing it for leadership.
But
Like she's
how do you know that? Because it doesn't say that in the show.
Well,
That's not a theme in the show. Is her needing to get past, like Mandalorians are nothing without their armor, and then, but he still has his armor, and then he has the same armor, and he dies, but
Yeah.
Mandalorian
like,
doesn't.
Let's say for sake of argument that that's the point, that she's gotten over it. What about her people? Her people that left her because she didn't have the Darksaber, even though previously she also didn't have the Darksaber and they were with her. So then they left her, and then she gets it back. So then they're like, "Okay, we will follow you."
Don't
But now
they see
she
her
loses it
do some great? Oh, this is funny. This is thinking this is green. Maybe they see her do some like great feat.
No, she got the Darksaber on a technicality,
Right.
and they didn't see it happen.
They just took his word for it.
He just took his word for it.
Sure.
which
Okay.
is,
We'll follow you again.
like, oh my. God.
We'll discuss more when we get into the individual.
Yeah. Okay.
episodes.
Yeah. All right. Revenge of the Sith.
I would also say F.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mostly because I hate Redditors.
Oh, I'd put it in C.
But wasn't worth releasing. Like, all it does is tie up loose ends of the prequels, which were just done horribly. Everything new is stupid looking, like General Grievous. I still remember we were friends with someone who will remain nameless, but their name was
Name nameless. Like, this is not fixing in post. This is
You're
not
right,
fixing
we are
in post.
live. All right, fair enough. But we were just going through the prequels just because we saw each other every day and it was something to do. Like, "Oh, you haven't seen this? It sucks. Let's watch it." And General Grievous came out and his arms, he get the forearms, he started spinning his lightsabers and she started like guffawing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
it is
so
very silly.
stupid looking, and I felt so ashamed to be a Star Wars fan because it's so stupid.
It's so stupid. Yeah. No, I think has some value because I think
I think it is the worst of the prequels.
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy. I think it has some value because I mean, like, for one thing,
It's not the worst of the
entire
prequels, but
the
it's
entirety of the prequels is
It
contained
happens.
in
Yes, you're
Revenge
right
of the
about
Sith.
that.
So anything you want out of Star Wars prequels of like, oh, I want to see like Darth Vader before his fall. I
I
want to see
Yoda do some bullshit.
I want to
flip.
see like Obi-Wan as a young man. I want to see what their mom was like. I want to see like their friendship fail. all of that is contained
Definitely.
within Revenge of the Sith and is made better if you only watch it.
Definitely.
So that's why I would put that there.
I don't think it's on the same level of Boba Fett at all. I think they are night and day though in terms of quality.
Yeah. I mean, also like Revenge of the Sith, like it has a lot of impressive visual, like effects and everything. Like it is crazy impressive.
I
Like it's a
guess
it's like a 20-year-old movie.
one
now.
thing you can't knock any of these for is visual design.
Yeah.
Everything looks cool
Yeah.
and is made with intent. Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things I hate. I hate the Mandalorian ships. I think they look terrible. But I mean I think it's below Attack of the Clones.
That's
But-
crazy to me. Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones has one scene I like. Revenge of the Sith has 0.
Yeah, but
you are right as a whole. Attack of the Clones is fucking
a
terrible.
fucking slog to watch. There's definitely a lot of parts of it where you
And there's,
forget
like,
that it's
cringy.
in there, and then you forget that like how much more you have to watch.
Yeah.
There's so
the
much.
Anakin and Padme scenes are
It's so long and so
impossible to
creepy.
get through.
Well, how about a compromise of that?
Fine. But yeah, I think it definitely shouldn't be on the same length as Boba Fett.
Oh, jeez. Here's the thing. Yeah, we gotta.
You know what? Boba Fett could go in B.
I'm gonna put B just to kind of even things out here.
I agree.
Because I'm getting to this
we need to ignore this. It's helpful, but yeah, we just need to.
Cool. All right. This one is a new Force gets
The
up.
last one.
No. Oh, you're right.
Is it the first or the last?
No, that's Rise of Skywalker. That's Rise of the Force.
Okay, this has got to be F.
That's gotta be F. That
I mean, it could
Yeah.
even go lower, but I just like
It
keeping
could-
Kenobi at the
it could be
bottom
Kenobi.
because Kenobi is the worst.
yeah.
thing
Oh
ever.
yeah. I guess we didn't say that. Kenobi sucks so much. It's crazy. It's crazy how it like
It has no redeeming qualities.
um
I saw something that I'd never seen before, and it was some comment somewhere, and it was like they definitely marketed this as like this like PTSD survivor story, like the trauma of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then there's like Looney Tunes physics in it. Like he hides her in his jacket, and there's
Yeah.
like, and they play like a tuba, like womp 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 womp, which I mean they don't do that, but it's like it's so silly and so stupid, and the
I felt
dialogue is just terrible.
so
and-
bad for the actress playing Reva because she just like I mean she was clearly doing everything she was told
Yeah,
and like the character just like sucked.
We always say-
it's so bad.
the acting is not the problem in these movies. The acting is the problem in one show, and it's Kenobi, and it's fucking Kenobi, and he's terrible. And Ewan McGregor is a great actor, and he's
He's an
fucking
amazing
terrible in this.
actor.
And he's
So
so
bad.
flat, and he's reading the lines, and it's clearly just so much effort just to fucking pick up the 20-year-old accent that he probably hasn't
Yeah,
used.
that was the best thing where the clip of him being like, I got to set and we started the show and I was like, oh my god, I don't remember how to do the voice. I have to get and thankfully I got back to the voice, before we started filming. And I was like, I don't think you did.
Kenobi, did you get your lines? No! They said no!
I don't think you did. I think you
He goes-
forgot to figure it out.
There's this part where Ice Cube and Kumail Nanjiani, who are just so terrible in it.
Oh god, yeah.
He's like, how long is it gonna take to hotwire some bullshit? And he's like, oh, 3 hours. He goes, you have one. And it's just like a it's just terrible. And then oh god, he says something else really stupid. That's the dialogue when they're talking about with that big nose lady and the droid, and the dialogue is like, guys, you might want to see this. And then they all go to the computer.
Yeah.
And he says some technical jargon, and Kenobi goes, in English, please, and then he oversimplifies it. and he's like, all right. And he's like, all right, let's do this.
Oh my god. Oh, it's just embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing. That was the show, because I had watched Boba Fett. I was like, oh, Christine, you watched the Mando seasons, let's watch this together. And we watched it, and it was like we would wake up early in the morning on Wednesdays to watch Boba Fett. We had Boba Fett mornings, and then Kenobi started, and I was like, I don't want you to see this. This is embarrassing. This is don't watch this. This is too much. God, yeah. There's a also I don't think I feel like I haven't seen many people talk about this. We talked about it, but that lady was fucking that droid, right? The
100%.
loader bot, she was fucking loader bot.
Okay, hold on. Unrelated but related. There's a scene in Jedi where C-3PO comes up to them and Leia puts his hand over her mouth because he's talking too much. And then her hand slides from his mouth and like stays on his chest the whole time. And it's just so awkward because it's like her just like, I don't know, being weird. It's like clearly the actors and actors on Anthony Daniels.
Oh.
And so she puts her hand over her mouth, which like people do to 3PO, and then she like leaves it here while he's talking, and like they just roll with the scene. It's very funny. Another not so much the character was fucking the droid, but the actress was. But yeah, she 100% was having sex with the robot, which is weird because Lando set a precedent for that in Solo.
Yeah. Okay, Rogue One. This is an interesting one. Now we can kind of look at this a little differently here. I suppose I would put it in here.
Really? B. I'm shocked you wouldn't put it in D, and I would have to fight you to get it in C.
It's hard. I haven't seen it in a while. And I like. You know what? I do kind of want to put it in D.
Based on CGI merits.
Based on bringing back Grand Moff Tarkin. But Grand Moff Tarkin, Peter Cushing is dead.
Those who can't see, I'm pointing to Boba Fett.
Peter Cushing is dead, and that's disgusting.
It's
disgusting. It's D for disgusting. And they're just gonna keep on doing it. They set the precedent. And they're forcing their way forward.
This is them like flirting with the idea. This is them bragging about doing it. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put it in C.
I want to put it in C just to round it out, but
like it just just get the guy that played him in Revenge of the Sith, or get a different guy, get somebody that looks like him.
Do anything. Don't have the character in it. Do anything else.
Don't digitally recreate dead people.
I don't want to. I'm the kind of guy who likes to separate the art from the artist. I don't want to do it based on politics. I'm okay with it in C.
All right.
It is a pretty definition of a C movie, because you go see the movie. This is where we're gonna have a big fight.
I'll put it here.
That's crazy to me. I would put it below Rogue One.
I would definitely put it here.
I hate Solo.
There's no digital people brought back
That's
to life.
fair.
It is very ugly.
It's so ugly looking.
Childish Gambino is very bad in it. Alden Ehrenreich, not bad.
He's not good though.
I think he's all right.
He looks like Han Solo, and sometimes his facial, and you're like, oh, that surprisingly looks like.
He does the.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm surprised that looks like him, but he doesn't act like him at all. You could replace him with Chris Pratt, and it's the exact same character. And I know Chris Pratt is kind of a laughingstock, but this was before Chris Pratt was Mario, and when he was like kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, and people liked him. especially in the beginning when he has the rock and he goes, and you're like, no, you just
Oh, yeah,
did the
that is
bomb,
bad.
and he's like, no, and it's like, but they don't
That is
even
pretty
really like leave a beat to laugh.
Yeah.
Very evident of reshoots, which I mean,
Yeah.
say
That's the
what you
whole
will.
thing.
I hate it. I hate the stupid.
When I think of Solo, I think of having an all right time. When I think of Rogue One, I think of like this is kind of dreary.
I really liked Rogue One when I saw it at first. It's
Yeah.
a spectacle. It
Yeah.
definitely benefited from seeing it in a theater. We waited a month to see Solo. And we were like, yeah, it was better than we thought. It was still terrible. Darth Maul shows up at the end for no reason.
He does. He does.
The big battle is they start double crossing each other and it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but there's no big laser in the sky or giant battle, which is
No, but there
impressive.
is a giant Leviathan that gets sucked through a black hole, which
I like a giant Leviathan.
it's that's to me is the space battle. And then when the escape pod shoots off the Millennium Falcon, they go do 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 or whatever fucking stupid Star Wars theme they play. That's embarrassing, and in the trailer, this is not kind of a minus, but in the trailer, it was the Super Bowl trailer, and it was like, you know, Solo, the next big Star Wars movie, and that's when they like still believed in Star Wars because it was after Last Jedi. Solo obviously was what made people realize Star Wars was fallible, not fallible, but like box office wise was fallible. Yeah. And Chewbacca is like hanging on to something. He's about to hit a cliff, and it cuts like Solo in theater. He's like, "Oh no, what's gonna happen to Chewbacca in this prequel movie?"
Oh my god! Plus, there's the line Chewbacca. That's way too long. I'm gonna have to find you a shorter nickname.
Han, who are your people?
Oh god. Okay.
Oh,
fine.
Han Solo. Okay, based on that line alone.
Okay, based on you're alone.
I hate Solo. Dryden Voss is a horrible villain. Paul Bettany should. Grievous harm should come to him, perhaps even death. And those are my thoughts on Solo. I probably have more, but
Force Awakens.
Knowing what I know now,
well, we didn't judge like Mando seasons 1 and 2 based on season 3.
Yeah, I kind of want to put it. I hated it when it came out, and I still don't like it. Everyone was like, "Oh, well, it's bad because it's just a rehash of New Hope," and you're like, "That's as good as it's gonna get," and it ain't getting that good again. Yeah. It is a competent movie. I mean, now I'm judging it based on the sequels when I like compared to this. I think I want to put it. I was originally thinking below Boba Fett, but I think I now want to put it in C above Rogue One and Solo.
Really?
Wow. Would you put it higher or lower? I mean, do you give it shit for kicking off the sequels, for setting up things that they had no intention of?
I mean, there's a lot in it that I don't like that Han Solo is doing the same stuff. I don't like that, like, Finn kind of, like, kicks dirt for the rest of the movie after being introduced. But you know, there's a lot of stuff in it that like they set like everything they set up was fairly iconic. Of like Kylo Ren immediately was like
Kylo Ren's very iconic.
Great villain.
Rey's a great protagonist.
Rey's a good protagonist.
Oscar Isaac is fucking horrible.
Finn as like an ex-stormtrooper, you know, that was like everybody was immediately super into that idea, and then it didn't.
Then they don't do anything. Yeah, it's hard to judge.
So
I definitely enjoyed seeing Rogue One a lot more than I enjoyed seeing Force Awakens, which was none at all.
I'd put it
smack dab in the middle.
You know what? I'm gonna.
You're right about it being iconic. Like,
I mean, maybe that's just because like of marketing was so good, and
it was extremely popular, and
like,
because it was Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with it there. I don't like it more than Rogue One. I don't even really like Rogue One. I don't really like The Force Awakens, but I think it's a better movie. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like Yeah, you kind of you're more the characters are endearing and understandable. Rogue One's a bit of a shambling mess in terms
Yeah,
of characters.
yeah. It does have that injection of Marvel though that like just kind of stains the movie.
Mm,
Like that is gonna age so poorly.
yeah.
It already has. Um, I do like this as a C though. I feel like if it's better than that, it's good. If it's worse than that, it's bad.
Yeah. C is like I would put C on a rainy day,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, I'm with you there. You can watch it and like
Turn your brain off.
you show somebody and be like, you know, there's
You know,
problems, but
put it on at 2 a.m. to like have on
yeah,
or whatever. When people are like, "Oh, you know, it wasn't good, but it was a good Star Wars movie," that's what C is.
yeah. But these are good Star Wars.
These are good
movies.
Star Wars. That's the thing.
And
That's what
these
people
are
mean, but
people can't see my hand. I'm pointing to the. These are
check it.
good.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
This is going too far. The
Hold on.
You know what you look like right now?
What?
You ever see Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
Yeah.
You know the red guy?
Yeah.
These are the eyes.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
These are
You got it. Other way. Other
good
side.
Star Wars movies.
Yes.
And everything else fucking sucks.
Oh, this fucking sucks. Hey, you're like Boba Fett.
Yeah. I need a shirt like this.
A
That
green screen
screen's
shirt?
behind
Yeah.
me. Or like,
Get
you
you
know,
like a morph
reflects.
suit.
Yeah.
Do that.
Now comes the juicy bits.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people said when Last Jedi came out, it was a big fuckery.
No, stop. Hold that thought. Write it down if you have to. I
Okay.
need to pee and I don't wanna pee mid
Okay.
media race.
What is everybody's least favorite Star Wars live action property? Mine. Mine would probably actually be Mando season 3 because that's just the most disappointing thing. That or Rise of Skywalker. Man, those just like, ugh. You know, I mean, I guess I like swing wildly of like being like, oh well, oh hey, you can see Stella. Here she is. She's napping behind me. I swing wildly between like, you know, like if you enjoy it, that's fine. I guess most of the time I'm like, I don't want to argue with you that if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But like, if I like viscerally hate something, if I have like the visceral response of hating something, I want to explain it. You know, I want to explain why it is upsetting. And like, sure, they're just movies and TV shows, and they don't really matter. But like, nothing fucking matters. It only matters what you put into it. So like, why not? You know, why can't this have meaning? You know, I don't know. Point is that Last Jedi is cancer, and it ruined my life.
Speaking of cancer, The Last Jedi. I have a lot to say about this.
So yeah, and people said like, oh, everybody hating on it now is gonna realize later that it's really good, and that's not true. However, I will
5 years
say,
have passed.
5 years have passed, and I think there's definitely elements about it that I've come to understand better.
I have not been reading the chat, so I would just like to say,
Um,
or Jester Seb. Sorry, that's too obvious.
L. Simpson.
Yeah, Al Simpson. We very much appreciate you.
And I will say this, that there are elements that I've come around on of like appreciating more, mostly with like some of the ideas of the Luke stuff. And I guess a lot of it I've come like a lot of the like I haven't come around on a lot of it, but pretty much everything that I've come around on the idea of it, and maintained that the execution is just god awful, and not my taste in the slightest. And sucks. So that's why
I have a couple things to say. And I guess I'll start with The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Which was the last one?
Rise of Skywalker.
I always forget that name. Goes to show. When that came out, everyone was like, at least, like, The Last Jedi was like an individual director's vision. That was like in this small indie movie. Like it was bad, but at least it was like this one guy like with a small like ragtag team making a movie. And like the last Jedi, what's the last?
Rise of
Rise of
Skywalker.
Skywalker. It's like this big corporate mess. The Last Jedi is a big corporate mess. This is not like
I don't think
this little.
it's not a big corporate mess. It's a big guy's mess.
This is not this little like indie film where the guy like, you know, the guy doesn't really have an idea. It still is the I think the worst example of being like of its like fatty and of its time. It has it's just riddled with Marvel humor, and like it's just so poorly done and executed. And
it
like
is the most visually pleasing. Of
I
the
disagree. I
sequels.
think it's the ugliest. I think of Canto Bite.
Oh god, Canto Bite is really ugly.
And I think of that. These are the first two things. I mean, I'm not saying there's no good parts, but
Yeah.
you'd have to remind me of them. I think of that scene where they're flying through the crystal cave with the crystal foxes.
Oh yeah.
And I think that looks fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I think it looks like a crystal cave, but it just I don't like the direction, the design of it. You know what I'm saying?
It was really once I saw Rise of Skywalker and how ugly Luke and Luke's island are in that movie that I realized that Last
They look
Jedi's
cheap.
they look so cheap.
The
and
Last
ugly. It's
Jedi
crazy.
looks
no,
like
that's
the execution of the visuals is
Yeah.
fine,
mm,
but the direction of it I despise.
yeah.
And then I got another thing I'm stealing from you is like there's a million and one essayists of both defending and detracting from The Last Jedi, but my favorite one is the movie that they're defending sounds awesome. I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
And it's like there's all these straw men like you hate The Last Jedi because you wanted Luke to be this like super badass who like took down the First Order. It's like no, I actually that's the only thing I do like about The Last Jedi. I like that Luke was like a a hermit who failed. I think there's a great story there. Did they have to make it so funny? Like
So funny.
when Rey comes up and she hands his lightsaber and he goes whoop and there's like a whoop sound effect and he like marches away, silly walks.
Yeah.
And you can call that an exaggeration and maybe you're right. But
That's what it feels like. That's definitely what it feels like. Because like I remember
Yeah.
people laughing in the theater.
definitely, oh man, that theater. Well, it opens with a Yo Mama joke.
It does.
And
yeah.
I mean, you even made an edit like that removes the jokes, and it's like, okay, now I feel like I can like kind of sink, but like you're afraid to like get invested in this world because then they make fun of you for it
Yeah.
with like tropes and this is the stuff that's gonna seem out of date because it's just so of the time. I feel like it has to go in F tier. I mean, by definition, it's a failure.
Yeah, I would put it probably. I'd put it above Mando season 3 and Rise of Skywalker solely because
They're so soulless.
they're soulless. There's no like all the things wrong with Last Jedi are because a guy has the wrong idea or like has the wrong style. Everything wrong with the other stuff is because it's just like it's laziness. It's not spending time. It's like it's trying to set up another like cinematic universe or whatever. So they fall below that. But then otherwise, like The Last Jedi is like I don't know. It's just like it's not a good time because like like you said, they make fun of you for getting into it. Like there's nothing to care about really.
If they're not making fun of it with jokes, they're making fun of it with like direction, and it's like, oh, these old dinosaur movies with these tropes, like you thought that X was gonna happen because it was set up. Joke's on you, it didn't. And like a twist is great, and like surprises are great, and taking things in a new direction is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, like people always talk about how amazing the Praetorian Guard scene is, and like Sure, there's a lot of like clever action in the Praetorian Guard
Definitely,
fight.
it's
Um,
definitely one of the highlights. I don't know about highlights, but like better parts of the movie.
but it's just completely like subverted because it
And the
doesn't lead
same
to
thing
anything.
happens. He not only he was bad, he was on the fence, and you're like, oh, now he has the choice. Does he go more bad or does he become good? Oh wow, he's becoming good. That's nope, he's more bad again.
Right, yeah. So like what I
And
mean
that's not even J.J. Abrams' fault. That's in the same movie. I want
Yeah.
every gun to fire on that man.
ship
More.
the mice. It's just like yeah, it's just it doesn't mean anything. Like their battle together doesn't mean anything. I don't like
What's the theme of The Last Jedi that's not meta? Like what do you
well there's
what do
the
you,
failure theme.
okay, that's
Failure is
true.
is the
I'll
best
definitely give
teacher.
it that. I will definitely give it that. And I like that scene. I like when
Um,
Yoda shows up. And if I like that it's like asshole Yoda.
That's the thing is that everybody disagrees about everybody like that is a Last Jedi like appreciator is like they
Apologist.
disagree about why it's great because so many people will be like I love when Yoda burned down that tree and then
Because he burned the books.
because he
with
burned
it.
the books and then somebody will be like oh
No, he didn't. The books
no
are in
he
the Millennium
didn't
Falcon.
and they'll be like oh I hated that I hated that they brought it back. But that's in the movie.
Right.
That's in the movie. And also,
You can't ignore
that's like part of the movie because the movie isn't saying let the past die, kill it if you have to. It's not saying that. The bad
The
guy
characters are saying it.
the bad guy is the
But the
one that
movie's
says
not.
that. And then because Luke Skywalker, yeah, he is like turned into a loser, but then at the end of the movie he saves the rebellion. So like he does become the cool badass. So like it's not saying kill the past. Like it's not saying burn the old books. So then what's it saying? Like
You really think I'm going to go out there with a laser sword and fight the whole First Order? It's like literally exactly what he does.
So,
I
like-
mean, he doesn't, but functionally that's what happens.
like it's very confusing that he didn't burn the books.
It's insane. It makes me wonder. They obviously must play a super important role in the next movie that Disney didn't let him do it. That's the only explanation I can think of. Or I'm fucking going crazy is what's happening.
No, I think
I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I think the fact that like the point of the movie is not let the past die. A lot of people got that confused because that like it's said so much, but the point of the movie is to overcome the idea of letting the past die. The point is like building something new. But it's the thing is that the movie doesn't build anything new. It doesn't build anything new. It still has the rebellion versus the empire. You know what builds something new? Andor. You know what was trying to build something new? The Mandalorian. They were building something new. Okay? And then they got bogged down with trying to not let the past die. So I don't know what the fuck people are talking about.
I'm
when they
reading
say
the
it's
chat, and you can say, yeah, he just sends a Force Ghost. He doesn't literally walk out there. But the rebellion is able to save the day because Luke Skywalker does something.
Yeah, there's
badass.
not really a difference between him going out there as a ghost or as a person because he dies either way.
And again, not a bad scene.
Yeah. The only part I
in
almost walked out of the theater when he was shot as a Force ghost, and then like
the red
It-
looks
it
like
red
blood.
looks
and there's
like
a literal
blood.
the music stops.
music stops.
I think it just shy of goes wah, wah.
it feels like a fucking Three Stooges bit.
Yeah.
and not in a fun way.
It's
Not
very
in a
the
fun,
movie
sexy way.
feels malicious.
It does. It feels so malicious, and then like, and it's like, God,
Not against like Star Wars like
it feels
basement
malicious against the
dwellers.
viewer.
It feels malicious, like, yeah, against the like Joe Blow who just hey, just got here.
Yeah, because it's like it's not telling a story. It's not telling a story. There's nothing that happens in the movie that's not like a meta thing.
And it's like you can say like, oh yeah, but it's making you talk about it. But we're not really talking about it. We're more so talking about the conversation that's around it. And yes, we can't. Of course, the movie like provoked conversation, but I don't know.
Like, and then the other thing
It
is
was
like
controversial. I'll give it that.
we were saying before, like we like that Luke falls. We like that Luke like failed and
I
whatever.
fail. I
But,
like
like-
Luke. I'm like Luke.
But like, one thing I hate is that it's completely like it's something completely unable. It's first off, it's very unclear, and then secondly, it's like it's completely unrelatable to as a human being, because like what's so great about the moment in Return of the Jedi where Luke decides not to kill Vader is because he doesn't want to kill him because it's his dad.
Not only is it his dad, he saw like how powerful the dark side could be. He was, and you as the viewer are like, no, use it. He's the bad guy. It's okay to use the dark side here, but then you fall into the same exact trap.
And it's like, you know, I can relate to anger. I can relate to like having a dad.
Yeah.
You know, and like
I can relate to wanting to kill my
I
dad.
can relate to wanting to kill my
Just
dad.
having a laugh. Just trying to have some fun over here.
But like,
folks.
what I can't relate to is having a vision that my nephew is going to become evil and kill everybody. A vague vision that I like.
Yeah, I don't even know if they say what the vision is.
I guess,
So he saw an evil in him.
He saw evil in him. He saw the dark side in him, which is like, what does that mean? What does that mean? You saw the dark side? Did you like? Was he growing? Did he do something?
Isn't it funny?
This?
Isn't it funny, by the way, that Mandalorian? Okay, great poster. Mandalorian season 2. I love this because it's not the same poster Baby Yoda's there. Is it funny that if you look at this and you haven't seen Boba Fett, that this doesn't make any fucking sense? Oh, I guess he does get the dark saber.
He gets the dark saber.
Okay, but still, he's on a previously unseen ship that has no plot. You know?
Yeah, doesn't matter. So yeah, I guess point is Last Jedi, disappointing. So disappointing, I guess.
Yeah. Because definitely I was excited for it because I was like, I didn't like The Force Awakens, but they definitely put the movie in a spot where like I can see, you know, you gotta get the fans in, and now you're gonna take them. And like it was supposed to be Empire. I mean, it was, you know, oh well, that's the point. It was an Empire, but it was supposed to be.
I could relate to Luke. Like, if Luke had a vision of Ben turning evil and like sent him away, or like wasn't going to save him for something, I could relate to that.
We're only talking about also half the movie. The fucking Rey, Finn, and Poe stuff is so stupid.
Rose, yeah. Oh my god,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Yeah. And I mean, part of it I think comes down to just not having the same sense of humor as Rian Johnson.
That's true. That's also why I didn't like the Glass Onions.
Yeah.
The Knives Out. The Knives Out 2, A Glass Onion story.
A Glass Onion story.
I mean, they're better than The Last Jedi.
But... Okay. Finally, we end at the beginning. Every saga has its end.
I think also F.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, but the memes, and then you watch it, and it is like unwatchable.
Fucking slog.
It is so
by the way,
boring.
I said or I mentioned to you earlier that I watched it yesterday. I forgot to mention I fell asleep during it.
I remember that we put it on as a joke, I think for Jack. Or maybe not. And like we start off, we're cracking jokes like, can you believe they did this and this? We're quoting the Plinkett reviews, and then all of a sudden, like they're on Coruscant and they're talking. We feel your emotion through it, and we're sitting there like oh my god, there's still like an hour to go, and we're dead silent because we're so fucking. We're like on our phone. It's like it does not retain your attention by any stretch of the imagination.
There's our Star Wars tier list.
This is good. This
in order.
I was thinking like it's a
worst.
shame that the animated shows aren't on here, but like I think that they're just muddy. Because where do you put?
Yeah, where do you? I mean,
And,
that's,
like-
talk about varying wildly in quality.
What happens
episode to episode?
What happens in like season 4 and season 5 of the Clone Wars? Like where like I don't remember that. And all the Bad Batch goes to the Kenobi section.
Yeah, it does.